The streets are buzzing. New York Knicks back on track with a beatdown in Milwaukee, man. 127 points, right? Shooting over 50% from downtown, 33 assists, and less than 10 turnovers in one of the best complete performances on the season, right? 2 days off, and the Knicks had a chance to practice and get right. And man, did they get right tonight. Let's break it down. Welcome in to the Postgame Live, where the streets are buzzing. Our New York Knicks with OG Anunoby taken over in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson, 22 points in the first quarter. Vintage JB, the captain, bounced back in a major way as well. And Karl-Anthony Towns had a good second quarter. And Diawara got back into the rotation. Lots to break down in this one, fam. And a great performance, wire to wire, as our New York Knicks, man. The biggest separation that I saw tonight, man, the defense was one of the best defensive performances on the season, fam. And yes, the ball was moving with, the assist, 33 dimes, right, over 50% from downtown. Like Landry Shamut was phenomenal. Chez V, shout out to Chris Gotti and Nick Streets piling through, coming into the building tonight. Let's break it down. 38 and 22, a big game tonight. Currently in OT, the Pistons and the Cavaliers, man, locked in at an OT game. We'll break that down and we'll look at the standings, right? Let's hope that Cleveland can get a loss, right? The Pistons are up 120 to 119 in a real close one, in a come from behind. But tonight, man, no Giannis for the Milwaukee Bucks, and Jalen Brunson, right, got us out of the gate phenomenally with a 22-point first quarter. Only finished with 27, but obviously he started to get others involved, which you love to see. And, the Knicks badly needed a fast start, right? And that they did, right? They got out of the gates, and Jalen Brunson was dominant, pulling up from downtown. He was making them look foolish, right? Quick decision, JB. We love to see that. That's the biggest thing that I've seen, right? AJ, great to see you. Pope Steph in the building. Streets are buzzing. Knicks really need to win on Sunday, right? Yeah, we've got San Antonio coming in to the building. We've got OKC coming up. Big games, man. And look, 2 days rest. Obviously, man, Knicks fans around the world been, definitely reflecting on this poor stretch over the last 2 days. But we have to also look at it like the Knicks in the last game, man. It was 3 and 4 nights, and the Knicks just look so much better, right? With some rest, right? We never want to make an excuse because the last performance was not good enough, fam. But it's just amazing when you get 2 days rest to practice and all that. We definitely look like ourselves tonight, in terms of our peak, our ceiling. Mitchell Robinson was phenomenal with the blocks too. And yeah, there were periods of tonight where, JB was taken over. Cat didn't get a single shot in the first quarter. We do going to talk about that. But in the second quarter, when Brunson went to the bench, Cat was featured a lot more. So we'll talk about that. Mike Brown still, experimenting some, but obviously needs to really tighten things up. And I think he made a great decision getting Mohamed Diawara back into that rotation, fam. No Jeremy Sohan until garbage time, right, which was really key. Because Mo Diawara flashed some offense, he hit some threes, he played great defense, all of the things that we've been seeing from Mo Diawara, and we got it back tonight. So welcome back, Mo Diawara, and thank God that Mike Brown has come to his senses and got Mo Diawara back into that rotation, fam. He looked comfortable. That's a big credit to Mo, right? You see OG Anunoby, right, back to his gritty best, getting out on the floor. Hart came out of the gates really strong too tonight, fam. Their game plan was to leave Josh Hart wide open, and he made him pay. So we're going to shout out to Jay Hart as well. He can't hesitate, when he's making quick decisions as well. That's where we're in a great position, fam. But JB was dishing to Hart early, Yep, OT, Chris Gotti, I see you. Yeah, Cavs Pistons will bring you up to speed. But Chris also says good things happen, CT, when Knicks play Diawara. Man, I wish I could like this 1,000 times because, yeah, it just it's just a shame that the Sohan pickup interrupted things, but we're back to regular programming in the way of Diawara now, and I think Sohan's going to be situational. I think Mike Brown has kind of bit the bullet, and he had to go back to the Mo fam, Mo Diawara. We need Mo Diawara. Um, Shez V says more minutes from him, same as AJ. AJ also says it's crazy to root for either Cleveland, right, or the Pistons, fam, but common sense, the Cavs must stay under us in the standings. Yeah, we'll talk about around the league later tonight. Did y'all see Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, say he's the best defensive player in the league, or the best defensive big man? I mean, Mitchell Robinson got him covered, but so does Wemby. And yet you see Sohan warming up pre-game, man. This video went viral for Sohan's shooting stroke. And look, I still think the pickup made sense, but it also made sense to go back to Diawara. We gave Sohan a chance. I don't think Mike Brown really found the right lineup, but maybe the book ain't closed. We've got 22 games left, and I still think, Sohan might just be that small ball five. They might be saving that, for a specific matchup, fam. We'll wait and see. But look, so good to get Josh Hart back, right? And obviously, the Hart that we know and love, man, the aggressive Hart, not hesitating. And here he is celebrating after the win. We see a bit of Sohan in garbage time, too. This is what he does best in the dunker spot, cutting as well. Obviously, the game was over by this stretch. Great rebound from Trey Jemison. But yeah, the activity, the energy tonight, guys, was so much better, man. It was phenomenal. Yeah, if Mo can take that next step, I believe Macau becomes more expendable. It opens up a lot of possibilities, We'll talk about Macau Bridges. Not a great game tonight. He missed a lot of shots, but he was a lot better defensively. Going to give, Bridges a lot more credit because he was one of his best defensive performances with activity and energy, but he just couldn't knock down shots, But yeah, Diawara, the length, man, he looks so big, man. Pause. But Diawara, you see different angles on the telecast tonight with MSG. He looks every bit of 6'9", 6'10", at the least. Right, at the least, he's 6'9", 6'10", and you factor in that 7-foot wingspan, plus he eats up so much space, fam, on the court. Too. Chris says, Sohan can be situational for when Knicks need that D. Yeah, it could be matchup dependent. You look at Jaylen Brown heating up. Well, he's been hot all season. Cade Cunningham, we still haven't figured out, the best matchup 1v1. And he had some good possessions against Cade, but I'm okay with shelving that for now with the experiment of Sohan. We've got 22 games left, and there might be some injuries, but it just makes so much sense to get Diawara back in. And man, Diawara is looking better every game because he flashed a couple of possessions where he was putting the ball on the deck, spin move, he up and under moves as well. You could tell he's been practicing with JB, fam. And he looked like a little baby OG Anunoby as well. So he's looking more comfortable offensively, is Mo Diawara. And we know defensively he's already won our hearts. He's already, deserved his spot defensively. But offensively, he's looking real nice, too. The Knicks were up 20 at the half, and this game was a laugher in the end, right? But yeah, it just goes to show, when the New York Knicks are truly locked in, we can beat anyone. Now, this is Milwaukee without Giannis, right? But they did have Cam Thomas, and we kept him pretty quiet. Ryan Rollins was a Knick killer early. He was trying to keep them in touch, but we came out scorching hot. And Landry Shamut with another phenomenal performance. So let's give out the game ball right now. Johnny Chiba's in the house. Great to see you. I thought about giving OG one, and then also Shamut, I think, could have deserved one as well for being a star in his role. But the biggest difference in tonight's game was early, and I can't look past the captain for his ability to read the game. He came out hot, dominated, got us up early, 22 points, and then started to play the facilitator role, right? So not going to please everyone because I know people still want Brunson to average 20 assists and get off the ball every single time, but that ain't reality, fam. We ain't living in Disney World right now. Brunson's still our best offensive player, and you still need him to come out aggressive, right, and set the tone, right? Now, would you like Cat to have more than 0 shot attempts in the first quarter? Absolutely, but the way the game played out, it corrected itself. Variance came back, and obviously we won by 20. So can't be complaining on a night where you win by 20. And the captain set the tone for me early in this one. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Continue with your comments, man. We'll shout you guys out tonight. Any questions? Let us know how you're feeling. A lot of people starting to doubt the New York Knicks championship chances. Some people are calling us pretenders, all of that. Well, let's see what happens now with this big win, silencing some of the noise. But we've got some tough opponents coming up, fam. Big test out west. Got a road trip coming up. We got the Spurs coming in with Wemby. His lone trip to Madison Square Garden after he had a heartbreaking loss the other year on Christmas Day, right? NBA Cup went down to the New York Knicks as well, right? As we bring you up to speed in the big one, right? Let's break it down right now. Pistons pulled out the win, so that is great for our New York Knicks. Look, let's be real. We were never going to catch the Pistons, so it was either, what was going to please me, it was either a blowout, and the Cavs were blowing the Pistons out early. The Pistons came from behind, but Cleveland, managed to let Pistons come back into it. No Donovan Mitchell, no James Harden. It was a ragtag Cavaliers squad, but the Pistons fought their way back, right? So the Knicks now get major separation on the Cleveland Cavaliers, fam, and we are going to need that, right? So basically, we are going to move to a full game ahead of the Cavaliers right now as I refresh the standings, and here we go. So we move to 38-22. Cavaliers stuck on 37 and 23, and they are 7.5 games back of the Pistons, with the Knicks 6.5 games back too. Also, fam, we improve our road record, 15 and 14 in this one. I think that might go to 16 and 14, right? If that hasn't updated yet. But our home record at 22 and 8, fam, is what we do best. And coming up, we get to go back to MSG after this 3-game road trip to continue to roll these highlights. But yet Sunday, matinee, 1 p.m, tip-off. And then we'll have to go to the 6 to face the Raptors, and then OKC in a back-to-back. So, right, no rest for the Wicked right now, because we need to continue this play, right? OG Anunoby, welcome back, brother. Welcome back, Mo Diawara, and welcome in to everyone joining us live on YouTube. Do us a favor and click that like button if you're enjoying the content. And you know what's up. The Knicks streets are buzzing. Dermot's in the building. Buzzer beater for life. Landry Shamut. Let's talk about him. Johnny Chiba says Shamut and OG hitting their threes is exactly what we were missing. Spot on, fam. Definitely. Absolutely on fire. And I feel like Shamut has just been one of our most consistent players. He's had a couple of poor shooting nights, but outside of that, he gives you so much energy defensively, man. I was just sitting back and admiring some of these defensive possessions tonight because, man, Shamut is one of the best in the league at navigating screens. Like, he will just fly through a screen defensively and stay attached to his man. And that's what we need more of. I had an off-day stream the other day, fam, and I highlighted how much the New York Knicks defense just has been letting us down. Yeah, shots don't go down sometimes and we lose games. That's variance. But what you can't factor in all the time is defensive effort, tenacity, right? That needs to be on point all of the time because there's just so much talent around the NBA. And I felt like our Knicks perimeter defense has just been so poor recently. But tonight I was looking at a championship level defense. Right? Now, against Milwaukee, but I want to see more of that tenacity. To Queen's Place, let's go. NYC Grays, great to see you. And Wayne in the building. Yeah, we'll talk about Kolek, we'll talk about Diawara, Sohan, and the coach. But do you guys feel like Mike Brown decided to put Diawara back in? Or do you feel like he heard or he listened to a couple of assistants? You guys let me know. I felt like he was going to give Sohan a little bit more of a opportunity, but I ain't complaining because, yeah, Mo Diawara got back in. And the rotations just look so much better tonight, you know. Everyone felt, like they fit. The pieces fit. And the play on the court, man, reflected that with the 33 assists, 50% from downtown, and less than 10 turnovers, man. We had 9 turnovers, which is elite. And the New York Knicks forced 16 turnovers against the Bucks with no Giannis in this one. AJ says it really is a 2-game lead on Cleveland since we got the season series. Yeah, that's why you guys are buzzing. Absolutely, man. I forgot. Great point. So for them to overcome, they really have to, get ahead of us by a game. So it is a 2-game lead, exactly like AJ says, right? Also, I don't want to make light of an injury situation, but you hate to see players go down. But Harden dealing with a fractured thumb, hairline fracture, and you got Keon Ellis injured now as well, right? And you got Donovan Mitchell dealing with a groin injury. So that game against us, man, that took a lot out of the Cavaliers, right? They literally the Knicks broke them down while they were beating us down. But physically, they came off worse for wear because you got Spider Mitchell out with a groin now. Now, they're not saying how serious that is. It might not be like super long term, but it is going to be something serious in terms of the groin. Now they got Harden out. Now they got Keon Ellis out as well. And over to us, buzzer beater for life says CT is deuce gone for the season. It's not official yet. I know Stefan Bondi put out the report, and then it was clarified by Steph that it was incorrect. That Deuce McBride does have a chance to still play in the regular season. It's all depending on the recovery and the rehabilitation. So yeah, Deuce ain't out of the regular season yet. It's yet to be determined, right? So prayers, speedy recovery, man. Let's send all our energy to Deuce because it would be ideal, man. If Deuce can get back, within 2 games, at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games before the end of the season, that would be best case scenario. But look, I'm sure we could handle a round 1 matchup as well if Deuce does take a little bit more time. So yeah, I would say to fans, man, don't panic. Deuce is going to play a major part still in this season at some point. Better to be cautious than reckless. I think we've got the Soldiers right now. I mean, the Alvarado pickup was huge, and Alvarado was great tonight, man. But Alvarado's had almost a perfect game, except maybe one of the games, one or two of the games since becoming a New York Knick. Alvarado's been on point as well. So we'll give a big thumbs up to Jose Alvarado and a speedy recovery for Ducey. But we welcome back OG, his great play and 3-point shooting. We welcome back Diawara, and we welcome back our tenacious defense in this one. But it was a funky Bucks lineup too. But we did what was expected. Johnny Chiba says, agree, Shamut has tenacious D, and he is the pick of destiny. I love his story, perseverance, overcoming adversity with the shoulder. And man, he fights like he's been paid $30 million. Like, I could forgive a player that plays on a veteran minimum that's like, dealing with so many shoulder injuries where he might not be going at 110% all the time. But that ain't Shamut. he plays like it's his last day, man, like it's his last game. And I think he was born to be a New York Knick, man. Man, he's got New York ingrained in him. Is Landry Shamut, man. He's a man of the city. Uh, Wayne says Diawara and Kolek might be our best ball handlers outside of JB. You know, I like what you said about ball handling with Diawara because, man, did Diawara really, pop? You know, he popped off the page in this one, and I'm going to bring up those highlights, right? And the more ball handling, the better, Wayne. It's really key that this Knicks squad, you know, finds more ball handling. The Alvarado thing was huge, but obviously, having a 6'9", 6'10" wing like Mo Diawara was, super important, right? I'm going to bring up some highlights now of Mo Diawara. But also we had Jalen Brunson, like he was locked in, man. He's been hearing the noise, and he's been hearing it, and he answered the call in this one. So I've got the videos of Mo Diawara, bringing it up right now. We'll continue to shout you guys out on the post game with the streets buzzing, right? Here we go, fam. Those that have missed it, here we go. Mo Diawara, man. The stage is yours. Guys switching out on him, right? Putting in work. Spin move. Isolation. Great screen from Michi. But yeah, he's able to cross over to the left hand, dribble back to the right hand. Is Mo Diawara going to be ambidextrous? Right, he's showing it off right now. Left, right, dribble, and he got to the foul line in this one, man. This is one of the most eye-opening plays on the season. Johnny Chiba says, good game, CT from Coach Brown, rotation. Only one player over 30 minutes, JB, 31. Yeah, flawless game from Mike Brown. You know, he made the correction, and that's what we want to see, right? People had been doubting Brown. I didn't have those doubts. I just wanted him to actually correct it and do it. And he's shown at various points in the season, he's corrected things, right? And whenever Brown gets practice, he puts it to good use. We know that was one of the qualities of getting into Mike Brown over Thibodeau, right? He likes to practice more, and he likes to use these practices to get right. And he fixed this rotation, right? David M, what's good? I'm good. Salute. Great to see you. Wayne says, I think Sohan made the decision on Diawara easy. Yeah, I mean, look at the skills. Like, he just offers so much more than Jeremy Sohan does. But that's not to say Jeremy Sohan might not help later. I still think Kolek could be a playoff kind of riser, and so could Jordan Clarkson. So that just means the Knicks got more weapons, right, in their arsenal, fam, in terms of, picking certain matchups. But also the time is nigh in terms of just going back to what was working. We're down to 22 games left, right? You guys let me know, out of 10, how confident are you that the Knicks will get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Most people want to see us get to the finals. Obviously, we all do, but the chances, I think, of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals are still very high, right? I can't promise what's going to happen in an Eastern Conference Finals matchup because, we don't really know who's going to get there yet. Whether Tatum comes back, how did Detroit look in the first 2 rounds, right? They almost crapped the bed tonight, and they couldn't really take care of a depleted Cleveland squad and needed to go to overtime, right? So this was a great dime from Jose with the right, swings it to Diawara, quick trigger, shoots over the top of Rayan Rupert, who has a super long wingspan. So this is one of my other great plays of tonight because, I was expecting Mo to drive on this one, on the closeout, but he shot that one so quick. And because he's got such a high release with the long arms as well, looks like Diawara is going to be a guy that's difficult to block, guys, because he shoots it at the high point as well. And Rayan Rupert could not get to that one, too. We had the stare down from JB in this one. Did you guys see JB step to Bobby Portis? And then he made a quick business decision to get out of Portis's grill. They both had a laugh, but are we going to see a playoff version of JB from here on out? Has he flipped the switch like most greats do? The Kobe's, fam, the legends before the playoffs, right? They flip that switch and they start to turn into that Mamba, right? There's no doubt, man. JB has that Mamba mentality, and it just needs to come out, right? Buzzer Beater says on the Spurs matchup, we got to play Wemby physical. Yeah, you saw Pistons that had great success. Great point, Buzzer. I mean, you obviously can't beat Wemby through length. You do have to, push him off his spot, beat him to the spot so that he can't, get to where he wants to get to. And yeah, Deuce's shooting to come back. I see you on that one, Buzzer, as well. BKNY82. With the potential we have in players like Alvarado, Shamut, and Kolek, the Knicks better not give all that money to Brunson in the future. So you're feeling the potential of the other guys as well. We need to take care of them. We need to pay them. So yeah, I feel like they'll sort it out. We've got Brock Aller and the best capologist in the building. But I do think we're going to shed probably one other major salary in a potential deal. It might be Bridges. I think they definitely got to hold on to OG. But obviously we'll be talking about that a lot more when it comes to the summer as well. And we don't know what's going to happen with Giannis. Actually, we saw Giannis tonight, had a courtside view. We know he's a big fan of this Knicks squad in terms of the talent. And I do think that, Giannis is definitely going to want that trade. The Bucks are in danger of missing out on the play-in, fam, as well. And Muhammad in the chat says, bro, I'm so happy we drafted more Mo Diawara. This kid is going to be so good for the Knicks. Yeah, he's just so raw still, but so much potential, man. So many flashes, man. We hit. Think of all the first round picks we drafted. We couldn't quite develop, but Diawara's that guy, man. He looks the goods. He looks the goods. He can deal with ball pressure here. He's developed so much in 12 months, fam. His dribble was not this good over in France, man. It was more sloppy. So he's definitely a hard worker. He's definitely a guy that's been watching film, a student of the game. And we got the size part, that's the thing you can't teach, fam. 6'9", 6'10". That's the thing we've been needing. You can't teach that size. We found him late in the second round, and he's got the skills to go with it, fam. I want to see more of him on Jaylen Brown. I want to see more of him guarding up, maybe Cade. He could be that surprise packet when it gets to the playoffs, fam. Let's not rule out, Brown and the coaching staff and these guys holding some secrets, because you want a surprise when it gets to the playoffs, right? Remember Boston took us lightly and they thought, yeah, man, we got the Knicks number, and, they beat us every matchup in the regular season. When it got to the playoffs, how did we surprise Boston? It was Mitchie. We had Mitchie out there, the double lineups, and that sealed the deal. That's confidence for you, says Chris. Didn't Diawara say he planned on getting minutes before the season started? Yeah, you're right. Definitely it was confidence, but yeah, not cockiness. He knew his time was gonna come again, right? He knew he's the goods, and that Mike Brown was gonna get back to him too. It's all part of that, rookie ups and downs. You go through those bumps early, that, you overcome that adversity, man. The sky's the limit when it comes to Cool Mo D as well. I like the name 3D. I know you got Dennis Scott, former legend with the Orlando Magic. I think he's using that nickname as well. But yes, he literally is 3D for us. He's 3 and D, 100%. That's the guy we hope we were going to get in Quentin Grimes, right? The real 3 and D. Been talking to my brother about the draft and Devin Vassell. You know when we drafted Obi Toppin, when Devin Vassell was there, Tyrese Halliburton, and the Obi fit just didn't work out because we had Randall, but we really needed a 3 and D guy in that draft, and we chose Obi Toppin, and we could have had Devin Vassell, but things have a habit of working out at times, and Mo Diawara now is real 3 and D. So great to see him back. Uh, Slow runners in the building. I'm not confident. Very important for the Knicks to stay third. Luckily, Cleveland lost tonight. Yeah, we still got some games to go. We definitely need more consistency. I think most of us know our best is really good, and a lot of the time we're not at our best. We are very inconsistent, but the ultimate barometer for me, guys, is our point of attack defense. Like we were smothering them tonight, man. We were stifling them, not allowing them to get in their sets early. And guess what, guys? Good defense fuels our offense. You know, and I understand, when some fans were saying, "Oh, the Knicks weren't hitting shots," the Knicks haven't been hitting shots. That's a key thing. But don't forget, guys, when you're getting stops, that allows you better looks, which allows you to hit shots. You get out in transition, you get quicker shot attempts, higher shot quality when you're getting stops, right? And that's fueling your offense. So it starts on the defensive end, man. I'm sounding like Tom Thibodeau out here and former legendary coaches. But yeah, defense wins championships, right? First and foremost, you can handle poor shooting night. You can overcome poor shooting nights. If your defense is legit, and yeah, you don't get up double digits without playing defense, right? Think about it. If your offense is good, but the other team's offense is good, it's literally just a shootout. It's a Rucker Park street ball shootout. Nobody wants that. If you want to really win a championship, you have to hold the other team in check, and play real defense, fam. Shout out to Landry Shamut, man. I could have given him a game ball because he was a star in his role. Now his numbers weren't anything close to OG or JB and Cat and whatnot. We'll bring up the rest of the numbers, but Shamut is a star in his role, man. He's a legitimate shooting guard, and I think there's a spot to start at some point for Shamut. It might not come, but I think he would be ready if his number's called. Glenn Jones, my man, let's get it. Good win, much needed, but I'm still unsure about the team. They are just bad against good teams. Yeah, we're going to see San Antonio coming up. We're going to see OKC too, but let's just be patient, wait to see what we look like in terms of when, the stakes are higher, because I think we can raise our levels. I really do think we haven't been going close to what 100% regular season. The philosophy of the team has been different, but also we've had guys in and out. Rotations look like they were about to be settled, and then we picked up Sohan, Alvarado, and that kind of delayed the rotations being finalized, and it looks like things are being corrected right now. You got Diawara back in, Shamut playing serious minutes with Alvarado off the bench with Michi, and Mike Brown nailed it tonight, fam. The first three dudes off the bench were Diawara, Shamut, and Mitch, and it was perfect. Our defense picked it up. We had enough offense. We closed out the first quarter really, really good. And then to start the second quarter, and then you obviously had Jose. Come in, fam. But Shamut, Diawara, Mitch off the bench, that's excellent. That's exactly what we've been needing, and not Jeremy Sohan, like in some of the previous games. Yeah, I think we got playoff Brunson flipped the switch tonight. Buzzer beat us. I've looked at our schedule, and we can go 19-3. Only the Thunder concerns me. We play them twice. Man, great to see that confidence coming out. 19-3 would be hell of a run to finish the season out. Let's hope. I would love to see Deuce back, way before the playoffs. I'm optimistic still. Let's hope. But yeah, Alvarado and these rotations being corrected is a great thing. And I think we can finally string together some consistency. Not to say we're going to beat OKC and the Spurs, but we don't want no blowouts, you know. Just be consistent, be in every single ball game, and lead from the lead for the defense first. Then that will fuel our offense too. But quick decision JB is what we want to see. And no surprise, I think he got his legs back. You know, 3 games in 4 nights, guys. That I know a lot of people use that as an excuse. It really is tough. 3 games in 4 nights. They just didn't have their legs in Cleveland. JB looked like he couldn't even beat Dean Wade. And we know at his best, it's not even a conversation. It's not even a conversation. Jalen Brunson will murder Dean Wade when he has his legs under him. But in Cleveland, Jalen Brunson was hesitant. He looked tired, and he just did not have that pop. New York City Grays is iffy on Mike Brown, right? So doesn't improve the players. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. But I like the approach to the regular season more than last year's. So I'm not saying Brown's better than Tibbs or vice versa, but I simply like the approach to this regular season better and not going all out 100%, right? As long as we get the 3rd seed, I think it will be mission accomplished. And, you know, we get to round 1 as healthy as we can possibly be, right? Welcome back, Josh Hart, too. I've been very critical of Hart in terms of, you know, maybe opting to shuffle the starting 5. But when Hart plays like this, when he at his best, that is why our starting 5 is good in the net rating. But my issue was consistency and the inconsistency of a lot of our performances against great teams. And tonight was against Milwaukee, and that's a great example, man. We beat up on bad teams, and we do struggle against some of the really tight, tough defensive teams too. So I want to see us match that energy against San Antonio. Slow Runner says Brown is a good coach, but the Knicks would be better with someone like a Mike Malone. Yeah, look, obviously Mike Malone is a great coach as well. Different style, more in your face, more, you know, full on. But Mike Malone's a championship level coach. But I think the Knicks wanted something different from Thibodeau. Otherwise, they really would have given you know, real, you know, they would have given real thought to a Mike Malone, right? As we see some injury updates and around the league, guys, Donovan Mitchell, groin injury, big time in the run home with the standings. As AJ said in the chat, the Knicks really have a 2-game lead over the Cavs now. Even though it's only 1 game, the Knicks have the tiebreaker, fam. So it would really require the Cavs to get ahead of the Knicks, which is a 2-game lead. Coach Kenny Atkinson says, we don't like soft tissue injuries. The feedback I'm getting is that it's not a long-term thing. So not good for Cleveland with James Harden, fractured thumb, Keon Ellis out, and Donovan Mitchell with the groin, man. Did the Knicks really hurt the Cavaliers in that physical matchup? Now, Steve Popper says Deuce McBride says he's starting shooting on the court. The goal is to return for the regular season, but no timeline. It's a slow process. So, yeah, you know, we got 22 games left, and I do think Deuce will be back no sooner than the final week or so. I think that would be best case scenario. Then Steph Bondi says McBride spoke with the beat reporters in Milwaukee. He said there's no timeline to return, but hopes to come back for the regular season, but does not know. So there we see. We also saw Hart seeing some of the shade and clap back to a fan on X that said, I despise Hart being on the roster. Hart says, well, deal with it. So he's real clapping back, right? Now we have a major update, MVP rankings. I think for the first time, Jalen Brunson has come in the top 10, right? So you guys let me know how you're feeling with this one. Jalen Brunson moved to 8 in the MVP race, right? I think he should be ahead of Luka. I don't think he should be ahead of Jaylen Brown, who's having a phenomenal season. He's carried the Celtics. Donovan Mitchell has definitely had a great season. So I think that's neck and neck. Victor, Cade, Joker, and Shea, they're in their own tier, in my opinion. But I think a fast finish from Brunson could get him top six, top five in the MVP. And he definitely picked it up tonight, guys. He definitely picked it up. Now, we'll continue to roll some more highlights from tonight. And then we got the G League highlights with Dink Pate and Kevin McCullough. Pacome Dardier had some big plays in the G League too. So we'll bring those up for you guys. G19 says GTA retires as a Knick. I hope so. Definitely. He was born to be a Knick. You know, great feed to Mo Diawara in this one. I think we're getting more defense with Jose, obviously over Tyler Kolek, but we're not losing all of the playmaking, you know. So shout out to, you know, the playmaking of Jose, because, you know, we didn't want to lose all the playmaking that we had with Tyler, and we are getting some of that still with Jose. Now, we'll bring you up to speed with Defensive Player of the Game right now. So keep it locked in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that like button. You've got the New York Knicks streets buzzing. Friday night Knicks, a real get-right game. And here we go, fam, buzzing in the locker room in Milwaukee. Our Defensive Player of the Game tonight is OG Anunoby, man. That's when you know order has been restored, fam. Wingstop. Right. The manager, the owner, the landlord of Wingstop, OG Anunoby, is back. Right. And that is an ominous signs for the rest of the league. Slow Runner says key to neutralizing Cade is getting him in foul trouble. I agree with that. I agree. But I also feel like 1v1 coverage. As BKNY says, yeah, lockdown Cade, OG's the man. OG's the man to do that. I agree. I think I would like the combination OG and Mo Diawara and Sohan. You know, throw different bodies at him. Got to throw different looks at Cade, because, you know, with respect to Cade, he's got better as a playmaker. You know, IQ, reading the floor, and, you know, he doesn't shoot well. You know, he still doesn't shoot well enough as Cade, but he makes the right plays. And you got to, you know, you can't give him the same coverage, you know, all night. Sometimes he might trap, sometimes he might quickly hard hedge and try to recover, and then other games you just play him straight up and see what he's willing to do, fam. You got to get in his head, you know. If you start throwing different things at him, you know, he might come unstuck. You know, he might come unstuck. He still is a young guy that I don't think can get his team with no shooting to the NBA Finals. I think that'll be a step too far, fam. You know, and he's having a hell of a season. But if Cade does get Pistons to the finals, he's the MVP, because the Pistons are a good team, but they ain't elite talent, and they don't have the shooting that the Knicks and the Celtics have. So really, I know the regular season record says what they are, but I don't think they're the most talented team in the East. When push comes to shove, I even think, especially a Jason Tatum Boston, you know, are a more talented squad than them. You look at who Boston have got; they've got no weaknesses really. Maybe Vucevic off the bench, but they've got the physicality, they've got the young wings, and they've got shooting, and they can play at pace. And obviously, if Jason Tatum comes back, I think they send Detroit packing. I think the Knicks have what it takes to take Boston down, but I do think Detroit might be a tougher matchup for the New York Knicks from the physicality standpoint. But definitely the Knicks, Cavaliers, and Boston have more talent on paper, you know. And I know the games aren't won on paper sometimes, but just talent perspective, I think the Cavs, Knicks, and Celtics have more talent, fam, than Detroit. Yeah, Buzzer says try Diawara on Cade. That'd be a huge learning opportunity. Unfortunately, we don't play Detroit another time, man. That would be awesome to experiment, But you know what? There'll probably be some gamesmanship. Let's say we did play Detroit one more time in the final week of the season. JB Bickerstaff will probably sit Cade Cunningham. They've beaten us down 3 times. I don't think Detroit would be tempting fate by trying anything different in the fourth game. They'll probably sit a couple dudes, to try to throw a curveball. NYC says Knicks still beat all of the top teams out west except OKC, which we have not played yet. Yeah, I think we see the Rockets as well. I don't think we played the Rockets in Houston. Looking forward to that game, but we shouldn't be requiring a classic comeback to beat Houston. We'll see what they do, fam. I tweeted this out today, but Cole Anthony, man, New York City own point guard Cole Anthony, son of great Greg Anthony, is officially waived now. And I tweeted out that I think the Houston Rockets probably make the most sense, man, for Cole Anthony, right? They've got Reed Shepherd or Amen Thompson running the point guard, and Kevin Durant by de facto running point guard. They need a point guard more than the desert needs water, fam. So if they don't go for Cole Anthony, I'll be surprised, but he might want to jump on another team. Let's see. But yeah, they need a point guard to Houston. Where do you guys see Cole Anthony ending up? Also, the latest news, the latest buzz around Chris Middleton is that a buyout is unlikely to happen from the Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks. So reports Mark Stein that a buyout is unlikely. So it looks like Chris Middleton, man, he's happy to just chill. Man, he doesn't have much game left, but he'd be a solid buyout for a team that really needs some depth. But I don't think he's changing the game for anyone if he does get bought out. But looks like Middleton, fam, is going to stay. Jose G's in the house. Good to see you. Hope all is well with everyone. Starting the weekend on the right foot, fam. Let us know what you got planned. Right, we've got Sunday matinee against San Antonio, man. We'll be locked in. Diawara game high, plus 25, says Chris. Yeah, I see you. Buzzer says Jaylen Brown is your MVP, right? He's doing more with less. Yeah, I can't disagree. Obviously, Shea, the Joker. I think the Joker's ahead of Shea. But yeah, Brown deserves top 3, top 4 billing. I think nobody expected the Celtics to still hang around. I think but yeah, JB in the top 8 now too. Let's admire Mo Diawara's best play on the game as well. This one he showed a lot of poise, a lot of calmness and patience and composure, fam. Something you don't see in a neophyte, the rookie, right? Now this is fundamental developing, fam. Under Tom Thibodeau, we had given Diawara, we wouldn't have given Diawara these opportunities, but we gave Diawara plenty of minutes early in the season, right? And look how confident he looks right now. So this is why you use the 82 games, right? This is why I ain't panicking about Mike Brown and the philosophy of going not 100% during the regular season, right? It's all about, people say experimenting, but it's also about developing, and giving confidence to, extended rotation players, right? We weren't able to do this last season, but also last season our depth wasn't as good. We didn't have many guys we could really turn to outside of Kolek. We had Campaign, we had Precious, we had some decent role players, but Tibbs didn't want to really give them too many minutes because the starting 5 was what won us, most of the games. But when it comes to this season, man, what a find from Mo Diawara. I even like Trey Jemison. He's shown me more than Jericho Sims ever showed me. I don't know, some people aren't high on Huck Porty no more. We lost Precious. And obviously Yabu didn't work out, and Jeremy Sohan hasn't hit the ground running. But let's not forget about, you know, Trey Jemison as well as a guy that we brought in. And, we lost Precious. But I think if Trey Jemison ends up on a regular spot next year, I think he could be serviceable. You see Paul Reed as the third string dude. So yeah, let's clip on these G League highlights, fam. That those that haven't seen it, big win the other night. Let's kick it off with Kev and Dink Pate running the fast break. Two young studs, athletic guys getting busy in the G League. Kevin McCullough got those ball handling skills, and so does Dink Pate. So, they've had two good wins in a row, back to back. The Westchester Knicks, TJ Warren out here getting busy as well. Now this one, Dink Pate from way downtown. Confidence all season. Dink Pate's been hitting the three ball well. So you see him shoot with confidence. Form doesn't look great, but it's effective. Can't go under the screen, fam. My guy against Dink Pate. He's going under the screen. And Dink Pate makes him pay on this one. Next up, Dink Pate finds Pacome Dadier for the throwdown. Still not giving up on all my stock of Pacome Dadier. Let's see what happens in the summer. Right, he's still a young man. I think he was just drafted in a tough spot, Pacome Dadier, because he's too young to contribute on a championship team. But let's not forget, he's only 20, 19, 20. It's Pacome Dadier, and still a very fluid athlete. I see an athlete when I still see Pacome Dadier, but he just needs to find his creation abilities and the shot from downtown. But here's a nice little step back mid-range from Pacome Dadier on the baseline. Too tall enough to shoot over anyone, man. He basically shoots over the center in this one, and a nice smooth jumper as well. For those that don't know, it's just been reported widely. I think Fred Katz has reported this, or Chris Persianen, apologies. One of the two, I believe, reported earlier in the season that the Knicks front office really like Pacome Dadier still. There's a reason he didn't get traded for peanuts, because they still believe in something that he has in his future. But the data, the analytics, the shooting data and the analytics from practices are really high. They project that Pacome Dadier does have, a beautiful shooting mechanic and potential to be a great shooter, according to their data and analytics. So again, it might not be for us. It might be wrong place, wrong time. But I think Dadier is going to be an NBA player some point down the line. Now this one, Kevin McCullough, right? Is he going to be on a regular roster spot next season? Here he is knocking down the corner three in this one. Kevin McCullough on this one. Great to see him shoot the three ball. Right. And that's what the G League is for these guys, fam. Getting the reps in. And highlight play from Kevin McCullough as well, showing his defensive tenacity, getting into the passing lane for the coast-to-coast dunk. So some good plays to look at. And back to tonight and our action. But yeah, good to see those guys put in their reps with the G League, fam. That just highlights how deep we are as a squad, really. The deepest squad since I've been a New York Knicks fan. Obviously, the last championship team in the 70s, I think, was extremely deep. But really good squad in the 90s, but I don't think it was this deep. Like, when you factor in guys like Colette could play, or Clarkson could play on a lot of teams, McCullough, Huck Porty at times can fill in, as a capable third string. Sohan, Mo Diawara as the 9th, 10th, 11th guys. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why people ain't talking about Deuce McBride a lot, because Alvarado steps in, and it's people like, let's not forget, arguably our third best player in Deuce McBride is out. Right? How many championship level teams can survive arguably their third best player being out? And I don't want to, this ain't no shade on Hart or Macau Bridges or whatever you want to say. It may be the third most consistent player, but on certain nights, Deuce McBride has shown he's our third best offensive player, and he's a very good defender as well. So, you know, a lot of teams deal with injuries, but yeah, it ain't something that we speak on a lot. We don't want to make too many excuses because we're built to try to compete for that chip and win the championship overall. But we are missing a key guy, man. Already was one of the best shooters in the league this season was Deuce McBride, and we've definitely missed him in some big spots. Yeah, Chua had a huge game buzzer the other night. He was playing lights out, but on a bad team. Yeah, same way as Yabu, playing really well on a bad team. Buzzer Beater says, I'd rather have McCullough than Clarkson. Definitely. Next season, I think we'll see the veteran version of McCullough really take his opportunities, I feel. Just more two-way players. I mean, we need more guys on both sides. Clarkson is, as great as he was in his prime, is a one-sided dude, and we need more dudes on both sides. It is what it is. What do you guys feel about Kawhi? What do you guys feel about Kawhi Leonard? Right? Would you be interested? Right? There's a real chance he could be available, fam. One of the best two-way players in the game in his prime. Obviously, still a very good player. Depends on the contract and all of that. But I mean, I would easily shed Macau Bridges' contract to try to make way for a Kawhi. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the summer and see what Leon Rose has got cooking. We definitely need to take care of business this season, man. We're built. The best situation we've been in to win that championship since 97, 99, 97. The Spurs team in 99 was unbelievable. That was formidable, fam, with obviously with Duncan and Robinson as well. Tim Duncan, David Robinson. David M says, Tibb shed a tear. Happy tear seeing Taj got another year. Yeah, he's stacking up the veteran minimums, is Taj. But yeah, veteran leadership. Mark says, what happened to Clarkson's game? I think he's still got talent. Clarkson was shown offensively. I think it's a fit. It's a bad fit with us, We're already weak at the point of attack defensively. And I think Clarkson on Detroit would be good, a fit for him. Clarkson on the Houston Rockets with big defensive wings would be better. I just think off our bench as well, when you got Kolek, before we got Jose, you can't really play him next to Brunson because it's Swiss cheese defense as well. Another undersized guy that can't check anybody. That's the crux of it, fam. Clarkson just doesn't fit here because we're bad defensively at the point of attack at times. So yeah, I'm not really upset about Clarkson. I think we've made a very sensible decision taking him out of the rotation. If anything, I would even play Kolek ahead of him because of the playmaking. The ability to improve other players too. People say Brunson doesn't improve anyone. Well, Tyler Kolek, we can all agree, does improve people. And he'll make you better. And that's why I think Kolek will be in the league. He'll be around for a long time. We don't know what's going to happen with Deuce McBride's free agency. That's a spot right there ready for Kolek in another year or two, if that comes to fruition. If Alvarado and that free agency becomes sticky, we always know we've got Tyler Kolek still around on a cheap rookie deal. Uh, Buzzer Beater for Life says, we would have won the 99 finals if Canby's mother and sister were not kidnapped. There was a lot of reasons, actually, and tough situation that was, but also we had no Patrick Ewing was out. You had Larry Johnson dealing with the shoulder injury as well. We had to rely on Dudley, man, Chris Dudley, and obviously Canby as well. Damn it, we really did miss Big Pat, but I don't think Larry Johnson was himself as well. Obviously depth matters, right? Let's see what happens with Sohan. Do you guys predict he'll get any more chances, or is it simply just, matchup dependent, situational? Super chat contribution from our guy Johnny Chiba, keeping us all buzzing, supporting the channel as well as always, man. Great to have you with us. Johnny Chiba says, Wingstop execution on offense and defense is our key to the Knicks' success. 100%, I agree for so many reasons, but those two eat up so many minutes as the two starting wings. And look, I'll admit they're in a tough situation at times because they're tasked to overcome a lot of deficiencies from Brunson and Cat. On another squad, they might not have so much responsibility and they'll look even better. But for us, they're worth gold in terms of their production, right? But I'll tell you what I need from Wingstop. I know they can be great defensively and they will be great in the playoffs. I need them to be aggressive on offense. As I kind of agree with Johnny Chiba, yeah, execution on offense as well being so key. And let's pull up the box score numbers right now as we continue to shout you guys out. Appreciate Johnny Chiba for the contributions. And as we highlight his comment, Bridges shot 5 of 8, 62%, didn't attempt a single three. How rare is that? But he was a plus 14 with 10 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 6 assists. So did his job defensively, as I said. Pretty quiet offensively, but would love him to be a bit more aggressive with the bench lineups. But OG Anunoby, welcome back. 5 of 7 from downtown. Huge execution. Plus 20, 24 points, man. That's an all-star level starting wing. Remember earlier in the season, OG was in the all-star legitimately. I'm not just saying there was buzz. There was legitimate talk about OG Anunoby being in the all-star game. This was probably at the quarter waypoint, third the season before, injuries and before things started to regress, the shooting. He was having a hell of a start till the season, was OG. And these were the kind of numbers we were seeing on a nightly basis, man. 8 of 10, 5 of 7 from downtown, 3 assists, 24 points on a plus 20 with only 1 turnover, fam. What's the most impressive thing of tonight's box score, guys? Pick anything that stands out to you that you like the most. I really like the 9 turnovers. You give yourself a chance to win any ball game if you don't turn the ball over, right? I sound like Tom Thibodeau, but if you don't turn the ball over, fam, you have a chance to overcome anything, even poor shooting. You have a chance to overcome poor shooting nights if you take care of the rock. And that's where we've been getting sticky because of these bad shooting nights, but high turnovers as well. Josh Hart definitely stepped it up. AJ says 99 Knicks were our last deep team. Spree H2O is what I aspire OG and Macau to be in this era. And Buzzer Beater pointing to that comment from AJ. Yeah, athleticism was big as well. Like Marcus Camby as a young, big coming up, he was super athletic, uber athletic, as was Spree, H2O as well, fam. Those guys took, those guys gave the Spurs all they could handle. I know it says 4-1, and we only won one game that series, but we went down swinging, man. We definitely went down swinging in 99. And when you got that athleticism and shooting, you are a threat to win any game. But let's not forget who they're up against, man. They're up against multiple Hall of Famers, man. Um, I think was Manu on that squad, or was that a little bit too early? Might have been a little bit too early, but obviously you had Avery Johnson, you had Duncan, you had Sean Elliott, I believe. You had David Robinson. Actually, it might have been before Duncan. You had Sean Elliott, David Robinson. Mark says, I think Knicks point guard just need to get a little taller. Size always matters. Definitely Brunson, if he's not on his, A game, it's a little bit easier to stop than some of these other taller guys like James Harden. That's why, yeah, Brunson, the captain, man, he needs to keep the ball moving. Just he becomes more dangerous when he's also facilitating and not hesitating. Okay, I sound like Clyde, but yeah, people say dish the ball, get off the ball, whatever. Just don't hesitate. I don't even mind if Brunson. I don't have a problem with the shot attempts Brunson has. I have a problem with him taking too long to get to that because the defense locks in, the offense comes to a grinding halt, and sometimes he just waits too long, fam. Couple too many dribbles, and I get it. He's trying to do his razzle dazzle, trying to get the defender off his hip and get him into trouble. But also, he has to understand the strengths of his teammates. OG can't just stand around in the corner. He needs to be popping. He needs to be going. He needs to be lively, and so does Bridges. We did see a lot of player movement early in the season. That's definitely regressed, like player cutting, player movement, ball movement, and cutting in the half court. But yeah, my answer to the question I asked you guys earlier, how confident are you that we're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals? I'm at an 8. I'm at an 8, and I'm going to say my thing for the finals because I'm going to stop at the Eastern Conference Finals because that is going to be the toughest round, the toughest matchup, and that could be a flip of a coin, whether it be against Boston, Detroit. I think that's going to be a 6-7 game series, but I'm 8 out of 10 confident that our Knicks will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's just going to come down to how much we have left in the tank. Are we still fresh? Do we have a full list of players available? And who else we're going to match up against. Great to see AP in the house. Salute AP. 7. Okay. I was expecting maybe something slightly lower, but yeah, you're still fairly confident. 7, I think, is still quite confident we're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Anything below a 7 is more on the doubtful. Houston got that bag in the offseason, I think. Yeah, next season's going to be one of the most unpredictable seasons, David. You look at Charlotte coming up as I pull up the standings right now. Look at this, fam. The Hornets are ahead of the Bucks. They're only half a game back of the Hawks. And they're only 2 games back of the Miami Heat. They're only 3 games back of the 7 Magic. Who would have said that at the start of the season? That the Hornets are 3 games off 7th. And they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. So I expect them to continue to roll. And I think, they've won 3 in a row. Charlotte Hornets on a 3-game winning streak. Their rookie of the year, Con Knippel, has definitely made a major impact with some of their veterans stepping up. Damn. So yeah, I won't be surprised if the Hornets are good next season. Teams like the Wizards, if they get the #1 overall pick and they bring all those veterans back like Anthony Davis and Trae Young and that, they might be a play-in team as well. The Pacers, who are dead last, are going to get Tyrese Halliburton. They're going to get Ivica Zubac back as well, right? So next year is going to be so unpredictable, right? And this year the Knicks need to get it done, right? Absolutely. But we have flexibility and ability to improve in the summer, whether it be Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, or draft picks, other deals. Let's see. We might even make another coaching change, fam. Johnny Chiba says, I'd rather have Woodson coaching this team than Mike Brown. Woodson would suit the roster, in my opinion, better in terms of the half-court grind, but it'd be a lot more Tibbs-esque, kind of like, slow, methodical ISO ball. AP says, happy for Charlotte as my brother lives there. Absolutely, fam. Look, Charlotte aren't a threat to the Knicks. It's a good success story to see a team that's been down for so long. Buzzer Beater says, yeah, Con is good. Yeah, right fit, I think the Knicks would have got to a more competitive standpoint sooner as well if they'd hit on a couple of picks, Devin Vassell for Obi. Devin Vassell is thriving with the Spurs as a 3-and-D. We drafted Kevin Knox. That didn't work out. RJ Barrett. We thought we had a superstar wing for us. That didn't work out. Although, we flipped him for good value with our IQ. But who else? Quentin Grimes didn't survive. I mean, we've been looking for these wings forever in the draft. People were looking at Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball, hoping we'd get them. Here we are, fam. We acquired our wings via trade, and we picked up Cool Mo D via the draft late in the second round. Right, great to see Mo Diawara back into this rotation. Also, Frankie Smokes. How could I forget? I knew there was someone I was missing, man. Porzingis. I don't really look at Porzingis as bad as any of the others. Yeah, it didn't work out. People could say it was a bust pick. It didn't work out because of Phil Jackson and the health, but the talent, I think we correctly evaluated the talent and we selected Porzingis based on the best available player in the 4th spot. But Frank Ntilikina, man, we whiffed on so many talented guys. Devin Booker, Spider Mitchell. Also, we whiffed on Danny Advida by selecting Obi. Then we could have had Devin Vassell, Tyrese Halliburton, or Danny Advida instead of Obi. Now, I liked Obi coming out of the draft, but it just never really kind of felt right to me because we had Julius Randle already, and maybe they were expecting Julius to see one more year and then they were going to trade him, but then Julius had an unbelievable most improved season, right, where it just became impossible to get rid of him and keep Obi instead because Julius just became a different player. Julius stepped up in a major way, but is Mo Diawara the best second-round pick we've picked up since Mitch and Deuce McBride? It's looking that way, right? There's not a lot of competition. I mean, he's a lot better than Trevor Keels, that's for sure. Much better than Rokas. But yeah, best pick in the second round since Deuce McBride, Michi Diawara. Right. Leon Rose has salvaged this situation with some of the whiffs by picking up highly productive rotation players in the second round. When you look at our team, 3 of our rotation players are from the second round. Well, Brunson is, but we didn't pick him. But the players that we picked, and you could also throw Kolek in there as well, but he's not in the rotation. but might be next season, and so is McCullough. So in a different world, next season we might have McCullough, Kolek, Diawara, Deuce, and Mitch, 5 second-round picks in the rotation, drafted by the organization, not by someone else. Frankie Smokes, man. Yeah, Nick Nilakina. People couldn't pronounce it, fam. So they just went off the nicotine. Cigarettes obviously got the nicotine. So people just called him Frankie Smokes. AP says, I got a KP jersey. Yeah, I feel you. That was a quick ride, but it was fun, man. We had our own unicorn. Remember, I thought we were going to get Kevin Durant because he was like, yeah, he gave him the unicorn. He gave him that nickname. Yeah, look, there was no promises coming into the league for KP at the 4th spot. The fact that he turned his career into a championship ring, and he got a max deal. He got a couple of big contracts with Dallas, Boston. Now he's with he went over to Washington, then he's over with Atlanta now. I mean, if he can overcome some health problems, he'll still be a very productive guy. Yeah, like Johnny Chiba said, man, wing stop, absolutely critical. 2/3 of our starting five, or one third of our starting five, sorry. Two major positions, right? You need aggression out of them, but defensively, that's why we're paying them the big bucks, and they definitely locked in this one, right? So you love to see it. Jalen Brunson back to his best, and Mo Diawara, right, picked up where he left off, back home into the rotation, right, with his lengthened defense, right? So we turn the page now, guys. Let's hope for consistency, and let's hope we can beat the Spurs, Raptors, OKC, and really get some separation and some confidence heading into that big West Coast trip where we got the Nuggets, Lakers, and Clippers back to back. Fan. It's always cool when I see the West Coast trip in LA because it brings back memories, man. That's some of the only games I've attended in person, man, in the building at the former Staples, currently Crypto Center. Lakers, Clippers, man. Used to spend some time out in LA, and I used to get to those games on a regular basis, right? So Lakers, Clippers should be a fun one, and then Utah, Indiana. Hopefully, yeah, that's food. Finishing up the West Coast trip, right? But yeah, March, the toughest month of the season, in my opinion. And these next 3, 4, 5 are going to be real tricky. But shout out to everyone in the building: AP, Buzzer Beater, AJ, Johnny Chiba, Chez V. Let's go, Knicks Nation. Let's hope for the big win, and I will be live post game a little bit later. These matinees, I like to do the post games at a prime time, so not going to be straight after the game, but we will be doing our live stream post game after San Antonio on Sunday. Approximately, probably do 5 p.m, maybe 5 p.m, 6 p.m. Give it a couple of hours to stew on it, and then we'll break that one down. Hopefully a big statement victory too. As David says, actually had high hopes for Cully Anthony. Yeah, he looked good, man. Alonzo Trier as well had a cup of coffee too. I see him pop up on the timeline recently, man. What's Alonzo Trier been up to? But he was dynamite early in his season with that throwdown against ATL with the athleticism. But yeah, I'm so happy with Diawara. Happy with what I've seen from Kolek this season, but he's biding his time and opportunities because Jose has been an upgrade for us. But yeah, yeah, Diawara being key. He needs to stay in that rotation, man. Defensively, he's awesome. Offensively, he's starting to flash more of a bag of tricks, right? And hopefully we're going to see more on the next one. So we'll see you all on Sunday. Peace.